Welcome back. I'm speaking with Walt Bader, president of OMI Organic Mattresses, Inc., and you can find out more information on his website, omimattress.com. So, Walt, let's continue to talk about the ingredients in mattresses. And, one of the things that struck me was that a lot of people think that foam mattresses means latex, and these memory foam mattresses are not latex at all. They're not made from rubber trees. And in your book, you talked about how you actually did this test. Can you share with our listeners that?
Sure. There's something called a gas chromatography chamber, and what that means simply is that we extract the air as it emits from a product, and then the computer isolates the molecular structure of those emissions and identifies what the chemical is that's coming out of whatever it is. And it could be a mattress, it could be a cleaning product, it could be a textile of any kind. And so when I tested memory foam, and when I say I, it's not I personally, it's a very accredited lab that actually does a significant amount of its work for the Center for Disease Control, and so it's highly respected. What comes out of memory foam is about 61 different volatile organic chemicals. And when you start dealing with these and you start looking at the benzene structures and the propane structures and naphthalene and styrene, these are, as I said earlier, they're all recognized as carcinogens by every health organization in the world. And one wonders how these consumer products can be on the market without any sort of label advising consumers of what the outgassing is.
Right, and a lot of people I know have symptoms. They get dizzy, they get nauseous, headaches. I mean, do they recognize that this is coming from their mattress? Most people probably don't, unless it's
no. Yeah. And if they do, they go back to a store, and the store tells them, I've never had this complaint before.
Right.
And if they go back to some of the manufacturers who are more informed, they immediately take the product back and give a refund. But it's always interesting when you look at other things that use the same components in their interiors, while there may be different hardeners and the plasticizers. The polyurethanes and memory foams are used extensively in car interiors. California, if you were to buy a new car, on the driver's side window now has a big sticker that says warning. And it warns you of the toxic outgassing coming from the car interior. And you don't spend anywhere near the amount of time in a car that you do on a mattress.
Right,
it's rather inconsistent.
And there's no warning labels on mattresses. So,
none whatsoever.
So what should people be looking for when they're looking to buy a mattress? And should most people, like listening today, who are sleeping on a regular old mattress that they bought in Macy's or something, should they really stop and think maybe we need to change out to an all-natural mattress?
Well, of course, I'm biased, and so my answer is, of course, let me give you a short story and ask that you go back about 10,000 years to your Stone Age past. And imagine yourself sleeping by a beautiful roaring fire, and you're on a bed of skins from different animals, and it's very comfortable.
Sounds cozy.
Yeah, and you're about to go to sleep, and you hear a significant roar, and you know because you're an experienced cave woman that that's a saber-toothed tiger. Well, you've got a cave about 100 yards up the hill, and it's cold, and there's no fire, but there's stones that you can pile in front of it, and you could be safe. So now you have a consternation. You say, do I sleep warm and comfortable, or do I go up to my cave and sleep safe? And so it's comfort or safety or comfort. And that's a decision that American consumers haven't made. They certainly need to be comfortable on their mattress, of course, but they've never really factored in, is it safe as well?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the question you're really asking. Do you look at two components to your decision, or do you just look at comfort? Right. And our country has evolved because of the lack of consumer education or warning labels experience of just looking for comfort.
Right, that's a very good point, that we really do need to start thinking about our safety and our health, and how our environment impacts our health and our children's health, even our pets' health. So what's the best way to shop for a mattress, if we're looking? I mean, because I hear that I know, you're biased with your company, but I know that IKEA, for example, is pretty conscientious about not using formaldehyde and certain VOCs, and so they sell mattresses, and those seem pretty comfortable. Is there anything wrong with those?
Well, the characterization of wrong, of course, I can't comment on, but most of their products are imported from China.
Oh, really? They're not made in... I assume they were made in Scandinavia.
No. They sell a lot of products imported from China,
Uh-huh.
and then there's a number of mattresses sold as organic mattresses imported from China. You will not see that advertised in most places. You'll have to look closely for the identification. But in most of those countries, it's very difficult to verify what ingredients or chemicals have been used. China's a perfect example. We've seen what's happened to pet foods.
Mm-hmm. So would you see it on the label in fine print that it'll say made in China?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and it has to by law in the United States. You have to denote the country of origin.
Okay.
So the first thing you look at is the raw materials. But the raw materials are only part of the story. Because as I started to say earlier, if you were to give Kraft Foods all of the certified organic grapes in the world, they still could not put on the label certified organic grape jelly unless their processes were third-party certified, that they have been tested for contamination, that their production lines have passed sanitary and other inspection means, and their lot tracking for the grapes has been verified by a third party so that they don't wind up selling more certified organic grape jelly than they bought certified organic grapes for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am biased, and our company, Organic Mattresses, Inc., or OMI, is the only company that's been third-party certified to a global organic textile standard in addition to using the raw materials. So it's both process and raw materials. But to answer your question directly, where do they start? They start by looking at the raw materials, and then after that, it's where they're produced and under what supervision.
Uh-huh. And yours are produced in America? They're
produced in America, and they're under the supervision of third-party certifiers approved by the USDA.
I see. And you use wool, I know that,
Yes.
which is a natural flame retardant, which is fantastic.
Correct.
So you can get around using, the government is not forcing you to put in toxic flame retardants.
No.
Uh-huh.
You raise a really interesting point, because when that flammability standard was first passed, we were one of the first companies in the United States to be audited by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. And I don't know what the reason was. They probably thought that we couldn't do it without chemicals. But that was in 2005, and of course we passed with flying colors and proved that you could, in fact, make a mattress that passed the flammability without chemicals.
Interesting. If somebody can't afford to buy a whole new mattress, what do you think about putting a mattress topper on it, on their existing mattress?
Well, it's certainly better than nothing. I get questions all the time about if I use a barrier cover, a cotton, organic cotton barrier cover, will that in fact stop the outgassing? And unfortunately it won't, because outgassing is a molecule, and you can't possibly weave a fabric tight enough to stop a molecule, and so you wind up with a plastic, impervious type of cover, and of course that in itself is outgassing.
Mm-hmm. I see. So air purifier in your bedroom, good idea or bad?
Well, no, I think an air purifier is fine if it has enough charcoal in it and HEPA filter. It's going to help the air, but you're rather in a very confined environment. Most people sleep with little or no clothing.
Mm-hmm.
The skin being the largest organ and being warm under a blanket is going to have open pores, and you're going to absorb whatever is coming before it ever hits the air or the air purifier.
Right. And your lungs will probably, because you're so close to it.
Sure. You're going to be forced to be pretty close to those surfaces, both in pillow and mattress. Right. And unfortunately, as I said, there's no evaluation past comfort. And I think that is the
That's the
real
key.
Concern.
Right. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, Walt, but it's been a pleasure to speak with you today.
Well, it's been my pleasure.
And if people want more information, they can go to omimattress.com, and they can find out their local retail stores that sell your mattresses.
Sure. And you're in San Francisco, correct? And
yeah.
And you have a wonderful retailer there in Berkeley, Ergo, right there off of 4th.
Off of 4th Street, yeah. It's a great store.
They're a wonderful retailer, and they have our products on the floor, and you can take a look at them for comfort as well.
Great. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for calling.
Sure. Okay, well, we've been talking to Walt Bader. He's the the president of OMI, and wrote the book Sleep Safe in a Toxic World. So check that out, and you can check out my book, Supernatural